Hey everyone, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you, and today, in the interest of trying to cover as many of these boards before the CPUs actually get launched, and by that I mean the actual 11th gen CPUs, today we're going to be taking a look at the ROG Maximus 13 Hero. Flippin' heck, we've been doing Maximuses for an awfully long time, but anyway, it's time to look at the latest iteration. So, inside the box, because I've obviously already got the board out, you don't actually get a great deal of stuff in there. You get your manual, as you always would do, still getting a driver's CD, which I think is a bit backwards, and then you get yourself some stickers, which I know a lot of you out there love, and then also inside the box, ripping everything apart, you get yourself a ROG keyring. These are becoming fairly common with them now. I've seen these in the last couple of gens. You get an addressable RGB extension, which is the 3-pin. You get a normal RGB extension, which is the 4-pin. You then get yourself 4 SATA cables, 2 straight ones, 2 90-degree ones, the screws for your M.2s, the front panel connector, easy peasy connector, doofery, what's it, whatever you want to call it, and then you also get your Wi-Fi antenna, which you can stick on the back of your case and run it like that if you want to, or poke it out. You can also run it on the top of your case as well, and like I said, it's magnetic, so it will stick on nice. And then you also do get and I'll rip the bag open to show you, this is a GPU support. There's a big magnet at the bottom, and then you have a screw on the front, which is really tight and I can't undo it with my fingers. Oh, I've just managed to. It was a bit like Leonard from Big Bang Theory trying to open the pickles then. Anyway, so it's a GPU support, and it's adjustable height, big magnet on the bottom, so it will go on pretty much most cases with a power supply cover, or maybe even on a power supply, although it's not probably going to stick far enough along. I'm not sure you would want to run it that way round, but when we do come to actual testing, I will have a play, because the only thing I'd worry about is that magnet might not be strong enough and it might get dragged down your case, and that way is probably going to be best. But anyway, GPU support. Looking at the board itself, so this is all black, but it's kind of like it's a black kind of mirror. Not that I want to quote the film, and then it's got like little waves in it, but the waves are done with bits that are polished and bits that aren't. So it's actually perfectly flat, and they've just done it with a texture difference, which I think is kind of cool. You get these big slashes over on this end of the heatsink, which is obviously carried through, and you can see the design kind of ethos throughout the board, but there isn't a fan or anything underneath this that I've been able to spot. And I'm having another look, because now I've said it out loud, I wanted to be doubly sure, but it doesn't. Up round this corner, I will say, so you can see the power delivery up there. Now, it is a 14+2 setup. Now the 14, well, it's all teamed power stages that are rated for 90 amps each. You get the Pro-Cool power connectors, which is the shielded ones up here, and also, if you look carefully inside, they are on the main ones, solid pins. Now, that one there and that one there, so the second and the third ones down are solid pins on the 24-pin, the rest aren't. All of the 8 pins up on the top here, the EPS 8 pins, they all are solid connectors. The other things that I wanted to say is the chokes in there are microfine alloy chokes, and the capacitors, these black metallic capacitors, are made in Japan. So they're Japanese black metallic capacitors is what they are officially calling them. Anyway, we will run around the board. So 2 8-pins at the top, as I've already shown you. 3 fan headers up here. You get one for the CPU, one for CPU optional, and then you get another one for AIO, just going to give you a properly in-depth look. Come around the outside, and then you get the poster readout. You get a couple of RGBs. Now, both of those RGBs are addressable. If you see that there's 3 pins, power, reset, sliding down, 24 pin. You can see the difference in those power connectors there. 2 solid, the rest are normal. And then your USB 3 there, another power header, come on Tom, fan header. USB 3 horizontal there, 6 SATAs, and then another USB 3. Down on the bottom right hand corner you have your front panel headers, and then you have a little water cooler section down here. So you've got a water pump flow meter, RPM meter. These are 2 temperature headers, and then you've got another water pump header here. This water pump header will be set to 12 volts as well. So if you're an overclocker or you're planning on doing some testing, this is a cheeky one that you can plug your fan into, and it will just run maxi chat, so full speed out of the box. Chassis fan header here, thermal sensors here, you can see the little 2 pin. Then you've got 2 USB 2s. Sliding along, you've got another high amp header here, which again, this is another one that you can run on 12 volts. But I wouldn't overthink the high amp, because I've actually regularly run 3 and even 6 normal fans off of a single PWM and not run into any issues, but it's there for those of you that want it. You've got the retry button. That's actually kind of helpful with an overclock if it fails, and you can pop that, and it's not like doing a reset because it won't tell Windows, so you don't get that annoying, oh, Windows hasn't started properly. Then you get another couple of RGBs, and there you can see you've only got 1 4-pin. So in total there are 3 addressable RGBs and a single 4-pin normal. There is multiple headers. That was actually making my arm ache a bit because it's quite a heavy board. There's a lot of weight to it. So you've got an M.2 down here, and there's another one hidden underneath here, and they all go into the chipset. And they're all going to be PCI Express 3. It's only this one here that's going to have PCI Express 4, and it's wired directly into the CPU. But what I can show you is there's actually a fair amount of heatsink stuck on the top of it. So it could aid cooling for some of those M.2s that get toasty warm. I mean, I've had them regularly in testing with a normal motherboard heatsink running at about 70 degrees. So it'll be interesting to see what that one will do. And then if we were to fling around the back just quickly with a camera move, so you get your BIOS clear and a BIOS flashback, single HDMI. That is the only output for video on the back of the board. But at this level, I would assume most of us are only going to be using this as an extreme kind of case if we are fault finding or something like that. Wi-Fi, they mark it as 6E, which is good for you in the US, but not necessarily for us in the UK because it won't work. A couple of Thunderbolt ports though. The Ethernet are both 2.5 gig, which is nice. A lot of USB 3.2s there, but you do get a couple of normal USB 2s up here. And then your audio output on the back, and all of those have little lights in them as well. So if you are fumbling around in the dark, then it's fairly easy to work out which one's which. So, a good looking board. We're not privy to any prices or anything at the moment, but obviously there is a lot going on with massive prices of shipping increases. So a container that they might have sent these in before would once have been less than $2,000. They're paying somewhere between $10,000 and $14,000 for that same container at the moment because of problems with shipping around the world and containers not being in the right place and them just not having enough containers. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this is, sadly, that is going to end up meaning that there's going to be a knock-on price with hardware prices going up. And that's also going to be on top of the fact that these boards are now all being built to be certified for PCI Express 4. So it's going to be a bit of a double whammy with price increases on this as well as everything else. And it is going to sting a fair bit over the next few months. But I just thought I would mention that. It is something that we covered in the news on OC3D quite a few times as well. So there's a lot of information out there for you should you want it. But it is going to be something that is going to be extremely noticeable with all brands and all hardware for quite a while, I would assume, because of the pandemic. Anyway, good look at the board. Obviously a good looking Asus board. Oh, I'll tell you what we could do though. We could light it up. And with my magic cable, we have some lighting. Now, it's unsurprising that the ROG Eye down here is lit up. That's kind of nice. With a dual slot graphics card as well, it will just nestle underneath your graphics card. Although I've always wished it was a little bit lower down for better viewing, really, for a normal graphics card, or beneath the normal graphics card. But the thing I really like on this, and it is ridiculously simple in reality, where I was looking for a fan before, they've banged some RGBs behind those vents. And there's a little bit of textured, kind of like plasticky stuff going on underneath there on this top section that I'm struggling to get the camera to accurately see because of the lighting over the top. But anyway, that rear I/O is so simple that I kind of like it. And I'm going to say that I kind of wish that it went right the way up now as well, so that this ROG bit wasn't here and it was just all nice lights, because it's a good use of the space. So very minimal RGB for one of these, but maybe they're doing that because you do get the split camps where people don't necessarily like RGB, but they've given you an awful lot of connectors on the board for the addressable stuff. And don't forget, you can use splitters on those as well. So you can take one of those headers and split it out into 3 separate things should you wish. Anyway, that's our preview of that. Let me know what you think underneath. Click through to the website, go check the news, all of that sort of stuff. Social media, Instagram, Twitter, we do all of those things. If you'd like to follow us, then we would greatly appreciate your company.